Hi guys, it's Prophetess LGBTQ. It's been a minute since I saw you. I just wanted to, sometimes when you're talking to yourself, maybe you don't talk to yourself. I talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot because sometimes you gotta tell yourself that you're on the right track. You gotta tell yourself that you're not really crazy. Everybody else is crazy. And if you're finding yourself telling yourself that a lot, you might need to reevaluate. Today, I was telling myself, no, Melly, not so crazy. You are actually, well, you're right, aren't you? So what we're going to do today is discuss a few things that I've brought up before. And so now we're going to have let's see here, that works best for me. Okay, we don't need a light today. We're going to discuss that text. Remember, we talked about it before. I started a blog called Christian Truth, and it's at christiantruthchurch.blogspot. It is connected to the YouTube channel. It's connected to the Christian Truth Facebook page. Pinterest now has a podcast and a blog board for Christian Truth. We're on Twitter. Christian Truth isn't on Twitter, but I am on Twitter, and you can reach us on TikTok, things like that. We want to hear from you guys. And I say we because I'm not the only person who believes what I believe. Okay, so I was looking at my Anchor, my podcast, that I started with you guys, called Christian Truth. And every single day I go just to see, what kind of message have I made? What kind of impact have I made? And every time I go to check it, my podcast count has increased. So that means someone's listening, right? And it means something that I'm saying is resonating. It's making sense. I was looking at my podcast right now. My highest rating episode is You Ain't Got the Juice. It seems that maybe have gotten the message across. You know what I mean? You guys got the message that we ain't got it. We were not here for that. We're not here for that purpose. You get me? Like, we're not here to judge others. We're not here to deny others access to heaven. And we're not here to decide who is a mistake and who isn't. Because God doesn't do mistakes. You get me? So it's important to remember that just because it hurts and you have to reevaluate who you are doesn't make it wrong. It just means that you need to reevaluate who you are. I was thinking to myself today, like, what could I come to you guys and talk to you about concerning the text? Now, remember, I do have one. However, it's not considered a holy Bible in my house because there's nothing holy about it, because man made it, So I was talking to myself, and I like to say that God is always listening. He is, of course. So you're not technically talking to yourself. You're talking to God. He just doesn't happen to be in the physical vicinity that you can see. But if you truly believe, like I believe, he's with you at all times. So I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to Dad, And I was telling him, how do I describe to the people who have been believing in this book since the literal dawn of time? I was reading this article recently, and this lady had pointed out that the measurements of the ark have been found inside of a mountain. Like the timber beams of the actual ark have been found inside a mountain. And people still don't believe that, that the Bible stories are real. So I posted on Facebook to let you guys know, now the stories are real. All of them. According to man. Because God didn't write it down. No. This is where we have a problem. Mel, I don't like that you say nothing in there is actually written by God. Well, first of all, get over yourself. He didn't write it. He didn't write it. No parts of it. I didn't say he didn't say any of it. So what we see today, and I do mean all of it, is what man interpreted from God. Okay? Like I said, I didn't say he didn't say it. But we're not expected to get it right. That's why we're called humans. You get me? He made us imperfectly on purpose. He knew we weren't going to get it right. But he also knew he was making me. He was making prophets like me that were going to set y'all straight. You're wrong. Get it right. Kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So the text, the prophets even. Let's take Noah. Okay, Noah's ark. He had 2 of every species. Yes. And that's the only reason we know that is because we are still here. Us humans, right? So he wrote it down. Oh, that's right. He didn't write it down. Another man wrote it down. Okay. He experienced it. But do you think he actually had time to write it down? while he was experiencing it or after? Because you remember how it said that he lived many years, like hundreds and such, multiple hundreds and such years. Yes. When was he writing this down? How old was he when he wrote it down? Okay. So, and then on top of that, understand that when God created the world, and he created all of it, when did he have a chance to write it down? Because it doesn't say in the creation in Genesis that God took a break and wrote all of it down. No. Mary didn't give birth to Jesus Christ and then, wait, hold on, I got to write this down. No. These things didn't take place. So I need you to understand what, to me, the Bible is. Okay, now understand it. I still study it. There's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of good stuff. Okay, there's great stories to read to your children. There's great bedtime stories to read to your children. There's great lessons to be learned from the Bible. That don't make it holy. Still, no matter how many pretty words, no matter how many times you say, well, God's in it in every page, that doesn't matter. You get me? You made it. Man wrote it all down. So it is a man-made object. It can't be holy because men were not given the power to make anything holy, not even the Pope. Yeah, okay. So from the beginning of time, we have had this book. And that's the thing what I need you guys to understand. Well, we've always had this book. It's just what we know. It's what we know. But it's not all that we know. Humankind did not start out with this book in our hand. Like I said in the last episode, if God intended for you to know his design and plan, he would have issued you, high supply, a book of instructions, of what you were supposed to be doing with your life and how exactly to achieve it during your life at birth. But you weren't given a book as such, right? Even parents don't give an instruction manual to raise these kids properly. We're doing the very best we can by the seat of our pants. And my pants got lots of holes in them, y'all. I'm not doing so great, but I'm doing my best. So I'm a mother of 3 children, and it's hard to reconcile the different stereotypes and different lifestyles that are within those 3 children. My youngest, obviously, all you can hear in him scream, ah, all the time. Yes. Then there's the middle one who has not found what he needs to fulfill himself. Okay. He uses electronics or this or that, whatever, to entertain himself. So, and then there's my oldest, the gay one. And, he's doing a lot of makeup work for school and whatnot to hopefully pass his grades. But, and I think to myself, like, what kind of lessons do I want to teach my children? I want to teach them, obviously, that God loves them. No matter what happens, no matter what people tell them, no matter who they are and what they become, God will always love them because he made them that way on purpose. He knew who they were going to become. He knew what they were going to do to get there, and they knew how long it was going to take. God knows these things already. He's already at the finish line. People say that all the time, but I need you to understand what that means. It means he already knows you're going to succeed. He already knows that you're going to get the message. He already knows that you're not going to agree right away. But he already knew that when he created you. So understand this. When he created the world, he knew you were going to need to write it down. I'll let it sink in. God knew you were going to need to write it down. One, I can't remember all that, Lord. Not just off the top of my head. How do I share the word, your word, Lord, with everybody? Because I can't keep it in my head all the time. So that at that point, when man decided, I can't write all this, I can't keep this all in my head, I got to write some of it down. That's when the Bible was born. Man decided he couldn't keep all of the information God had done, all the great things God had done in his brain. So he needed to write it down. And then when he wrote it down, a couple other people saw the same thing, experienced the same things, whatnot have you. They wrote it down too. So we all got together, all of these books and stories that we wrote down, right? Because we couldn't keep it in our head. And we made a book out of it. And somewhere down the line, someone decided that this collection of experiences and perspectives was now deemed a holy book of God's word. God wants you to know he didn't write anything down for a reason. He does not need you to know what he's doing. The stories in the Bible are just that. They are stories for us, mankind, to make us feel better, to make us feel good about what has happened before we came here, before we got to the point that we were in, and before society came to this point. How did we get here? We need a book. We can't figure it out otherwise because we don't all believe in God. And some of you believe that, well, it's because they've never read the Bible. You're mistaken. Because they haven't read the Bible does not make them uneducated. It makes them aloof. I haven't read the whole Bible. I've read a lot of it, but I haven't read the whole thing. Because using it as a reference text, you don't need it all the time, every single way. That's not how that works. It's a reference text. You look up a word that you have confusion. I have anxiety, okay? I have severe anxiety. So let's go look up anxious, anxiety. A lot of things in the Bible are answering that question. So that's what I use it for. It's an answer. It's an answer, but it doesn't make it holy. You get what I'm saying? Like, if I look to something, any physical item that I can look inside for answers does not make it holy. It doesn't even matter that his words are in there. Like, I'm glad that his words are in there. We should be very proud of that fact. However, because they're not all red letters, you know for a fact, with those red letters, the few that are in there, mankind admitted that we are writing it down. And we can't write everything he says down because he says a lot. Jesus had lots to say. You see what I'm saying? But we couldn't write all that down. Why? Why couldn't we write it all down, guys? Because he was so busy doing so many miracles, a lot of different people were experiencing the same thing. Are we all going to write it down? No, because eventually when we all write it down, it becomes one story with different perspectives. That's when facts don't become facts anymore. They become fissures of our imagination. Not figments, fissures. Your imagination just put it out there, yeah? So then we have the prophets, okay? I'm a prophetess, Prophetess LGBTQ, lover, giver, beloved, tolerant, quintessential, yes? We are also in the book. And the only reason you guys know that we're in the book is because God told you that we were prophets. And now that this book is considered holy by most of you, if you see a prophet today, you don't believe it. I need you to let that sink in. You believe in the prophets in the book that a man wrote down, but you don't believe when a God tells this prophetess that she has a message to give because it's not written down or because God didn't say it. Because either way, you can't prove either one because it's not written down. It's not in your good book. And because God didn't say it to you, he didn't say it. That's what you're telling people. When you tell people that I am not a prophetess, that my gift is fraud. That's what you're telling people. You're telling people that 1, God made a mistake, and 2, God is not able to speak to anyone but you. For those of you who believe that the text is holy, I need you to remember where it came from, what it has been used to justify, and also how many versions of it exists. Nothing with that many versions can be considered holy. No, because if it was holy, it would be a widespread, acknowledged text as holy. Everyone in the world would believe it exists. Do you know what one thing everybody believes exists in the entire world? Everybody in the entire world knows for a fact the one invisible thing that exists, and it's not God. It is given to us by God. It was created and given to us by the Creator. But no one doubts the existence of this one thing. They believe in it over the fact that God exists. They believe in it over the fact that there's red letters in the Bible. They believe in this fact so much that they can make videos like this. They can make podcasts like Christian Truth. They can make blogs. Video vlogs, vlogs, right? VLOG. What is that one thing, guys? The one thing that everybody in the entire world acknowledges its existence. Air. That's the only thing. The only thing that unites the entire race of humankind is air. God gave us that too. But he didn't give us a book of instruction. No, he didn't. He might have given certain prophets instruction, you get me? Told the Messiah a few things. But our job was not to understand everything God wants for everybody. Because that's too much power, you get me? God has a path and a destiny for every single person. So for everybody to know everybody's purpose and plan and path and God, that's a lot of information. That's a lot of power to have in one tiny body. You get me? Like I said, your body does not have the power to contain all that my God can do. You just don't got it in you. He didn't create the human body to contain the power that my God wields. He just didn't do that for a reason. He did it on purpose. Yes. So I keep thinking to myself, how do I describe to you? Okay, the prophets are in there. They had to be written down because otherwise you wouldn't even know what a prophet is. We've got the Virgin Immaculate Conception in there. Do you realize how many women today have been accused of an immaculate conception pregnancy? I'm one of them. The fact that we can joke about it as a society that, oh, I must have had an immaculate conception then, because if it's not your baby, then whose is it kind of thing, you're taking what actually took place and you're using it for humor and satire. How does that make it holy? How is it holy? If you can make jokes about it. It doesn't matter if you do. It matters if anybody does. If anybody can make a joke about the book, it ain't holy because God would not allow us to make a joke of his true word. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Now, the problem with that, though, is that God gave us free will. So he's not going to come down and be like, hey, you can't think that way. I need you to remember who I am. I need you to remember what all I did. Let's write it down. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not. He's not gonna either. Because he gave us free will, people. Free will. And what does free will mean exactly? It doesn't mean we get to breathe the air he gave us. No, it means that we can do, think, and act any kind of way we want to. And as human beings, we have taken him up on his offer. Not necessarily in all good ways. You get what I'm saying? But just know that when you have a certain religion completely beloved and behooven to a book, an idol, a text, and you holy word, a God, words, God of word. No, it's not. You're a Bible thumper. That's what we call you. You're a Bible thumping preacher who doesn't realize that you're holding a man-made object and telling the people of God, even if they don't think they are, that the book in your hand is the only way they're going to get to heaven. I have been to churches where they actually believed that body was the only one going to church or going to heaven. No one else was going to heaven but them because they were the only ones who got it right. So I know that that's what this sounds like. Sounds like no one's going to heaven, Mel's way. But it's not Mel's way. It's God's way. God wants you to know. He needs you to understand. You, mankind, don't get to decide God's standard. You get what I'm saying? You don't get to decide who he lets into his heaven. You don't get to decide which part of the book is holy. Because it can't all be holy if you guys are allowed to kill each other. It can't all be holy if you guys are allowed to discriminate against each other. And it cannot be holy if you're allowed to hurt one another for respect and pride. Christian means you love all. I ask again, and I'm going to start doing this now from now on, guys. I'm going to ask you at the end of an episode, the end of a video, do you know if you're a Christian? Do you know that you're a Christian? Did you know that we were all born Christians? We were taught elsewise. We were taught how to hate. We were taught how not to love, and we were taught how to hurt one another. We were not taught how to love in the womb by anyone but God. We were placed there in the womb by the Creator on purpose for that mother to raise up to the way she saw fit. And he already knew how that mother was going to raise that child because he raised that mother. So let's take me for an example. So we're not thinking hypotheticals, yes? I have been through some things, y'all, some things, get me? But I survived them, right? They weren't always easy. They were hell scary sometimes and heartbreaking. I've had some moments where I didn't want to go on anymore. Even since being a prophetess, being aware of my prophetic gift, I have had moments where I just don't want to get anymore. I don't want to do it anymore, Lord. I'm so fed up with how we hurt each other. So one of my prayers the other day, it's really enlightened me and explained to God, and well, God explained to me through my prayer that he's been watching for a long time. He's been watching how what he created has literally continued, not begun, because we've been doing it for forever, yeah, to destroy itself. Humanity no longer respects each other, no longer deems each other worthy of respect because we are different colored, because we smell different, because we talk differently, because we dress differently. We're less. And I need you to know that God sees that. God sees that he made all of us, but certain of you believe you're better in God's eyes than the rest of us. And that is a severe miscalculation in your trajectory, excuse me. For those Christians, okay, I say Christians because you're not really a Christian if you don't love everybody. I need you to get it. That doesn't change because you believe in your heart that you're going to heaven. Your heart belongs to God. And if God doesn't see himself in your heart, you ain't going. Yeah, I said that though. It doesn't matter how many prophets you denounce. It doesn't matter how many omens or demons you exercise. The book of life is keeping record of everything that you say, the things that you judge, the things you find less than yourself that are not worthy of heaven. Well, that's something you're really going to have to look at yourself. Because we don't have forever, guys, to figure this out. We don't have forever to figure out whether or not we're going to heaven or not. I've had a lot of people, I've been on TikTok lately. I fell into the TikTok hole, guys. I sure did. Yes, I did. I got like three accounts. You understand? Prophetess has one, Mel has one, and Men's For You has one. Just because I like to see my phone face, I guess. I don't know. I started to spread out the social presence of a Christian truth because I think more people need to hear it. I want you guys to be able to see it on video, hear it on a blog, or read it on a blog, hear it on a podcast, whatever you can access to get the truth, the message out. I want you to share it. If it resonates with you, especially share it. I keep saying I'm going to touch on this community. There's another part of the community, however, that I don't quite understand. And I need all of your help to get it right because I don't want to be wrong. I want to be correct. I want to guide you guys in the right direction. However, there's a big part of the community that I'm missing out on. And I don't know how, you get me, to include them. Literally, that is their part in the community. I don't want to label them because that's literally the purpose of this part of the community is they don't want a label, right? You want inclusivity. What do you call that? Okay, you got your lesbians, your gays, your bisexuals, transgenders, and your queer. And queer only means you're cisgender, right? You're the gender other than what you were labeled at birth. Because I'm probably wrong there. Because I've never been either of those. Okay, I don't believe that I'm queer because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be a prophetess, which means a female. But however, there's so many facets of this particular part of our community. And I want to understand it. I want to know what the plus is for. I want everyone to be included because everyone needs to hear the message. Everybody. Even those who are non-binary. I do know that non-binary means they choose not to designate themselves to either male or female. Y'all are awesome, by the way. Because before you guys came and let yourselves be known, no one knew you had an option. And enough people in our community said that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Y'all will believe word for word out of a man-written text. But if a man says out their face that they don't believe they're either, that's a problem for you. You're confused. We don't care. because we're not here to keep you happy, to make you comfortable. We're here because God has a purpose for every single one of us. And if our purpose happens to intermingle with one another, then that is what it is. And if it affects your purpose and path, looks like you need to reevaluate yourself again. So, like I said, the non-binaries and the exclusion, I don't know what you're called, because I don't want to call you something that you don't want to be called, right? I need to know. Y'all need to educate me, like for real. Then we have, okay, let's talk about bisexuals real quick. When I was younger in high school, I've been bisexual since I was born, but I was what they call bi-curious. Yes. People were always wondering, well, mostly guys in high school, especially wanted to know if, two girls got together, what was that like? And, oh, could I watch? And that's just not, okay. So there's a difference between being bi-curious, we call that experimenting, and then actual bisexual. Bisexual means that you don't have a specific preference. Okay. You love them all. We love everybody. And I think, in my opinion, I'm a little biased, I think it's the best of both worlds, literally. We don't have to deal with the transgender path, though, and that's a path that no one can understand fully until they are. You know what I mean? Until they are trans. So I can't personally speak on that from experience because I don't believe that I'm in the wrong body. Now, I need you guys to understand, though, if you're transgender, you're not in the wrong body. You were not made as a mistake. God gave you free will too. God knows what he created. And if you look better as a woman or you feel better as a man, that's what God wants for you. Because he didn't make you to be unhappy. He created you so that he could bring your happy soul home. However your happy soul evolves in this life, God is watching and very, very proud of what you're doing, of what you're transforming into, what you are revealing yourself to be. God makes no mistakes. No mistakes. You were not born in the wrong body. You were born precisely how God intended you to be. And there's a reason it's hard. You are too, aren't you? You're tough. You're strong. Yeah, you cry, but no one else sees it. And if they do, they're crying too. God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing for lesbians who are in the closet all their life and then come out as adults married to men. I don't need to tell you that your union is a fraud before the eyes of God. That's not my place. God saw you unite with whoever you united with and then reminded yourself that you were actually a lesbian. God saw that and does not condemn you because all of a sudden now you realize who you are, because God already knew who you were. He made you that way. He is just waiting for you to catch up. You get what I'm saying? It's literally what's taking place here, people. I need you guys to understand that's the most important part of the message, is that he makes no mistakes. And all of you who are telling these people that they're not going to heaven, that they are an abomination before God, like, you are not a mistake either, but you are making a mistake. But that's why you're not God, because God doesn't do that. God doesn't hate. Okay. God doesn't dislike, distrust, disbar, discommunicate, exile, none of it. He doesn't do that. Not in the kingdom. Heaven don't do hate. So all of the hate that you're feeling here, transgenders, bisexuals, lesbians, and gays, you're only going to feel it here. You're never going to feel it up in heaven. However, to get to heaven, you have to accept the fact that he does actually love you as you are. Who you are is beautiful to God, and I need you to accept it. You don't actually have to believe in God. Did you know that? To believe that you are made on purpose, for a purpose, it helps. Yeah, it helps a lot to coincide with the fact that there is a creator that created you on purpose. But if you don't want to believe in a one true God, that's okay too, because God made you that way on purpose. You knew you weren't going to believe. He knew you were going to spread your doubt. He knew that you were going to culminate a message where people were actually going to believe the things that you say. Just like with things that I'm saying. He knew that he was going to get through to somebody. He knew it. Because this one's loud. Ain't no one not listening to this one. Okay. She might cuss, but they're listening. She might yell, but they're still listening. And the reason they're listening is because she's finally telling them the truth. You, mankind, don't get to decide. You simply don't. No book you write will ever give you the right to decide. I need you to hear me. I said, no book you can write will ever give you the actual power to decide who goes to heaven. Okay? It's important that you know that. No one was created for that purpose. Nobody. Not even Jesus Christ. Not even Jesus Christ. And it's not because I read it in a book somewhere. I just got a message that my Bible study is coming up. So the prophetic advantage, if you guys have joined me,